show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Air assault! Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Shero Coffee Chat, where coffee meets conversation. I'm your host, Melissa Farmer Hill, a retired Army veteran and the founder of the Shero Coffee Club, where our mission is to keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. Thank you for joining us today. We'll take a spin around the Shero resource table. We've also got your story of the week, your tip of the week, and your guest of the week, all coming up right after this. All right. Again, good morning. Well, we're going to jump right into it and we're going to go to the Shiro resource table because at Coffee Chat, we really get it, you guys. Life is a journey, right? And it's definitely not always easy. That's why it's so important that we keep our heads on a swivel when it comes to helping our veterans and their families. With over 16 million veterans out there, no one has all the answers, all right? But together, you guys, we can do a whole lot more. And that's why we created the Shiro resource table. It's a special part of the show to show, where we can share helpful information, resources, and programs. And basically, it's for the veteran community because if one of us wins, we all win. And today, we're going to highlight ways on how you can support giving back to uh, the community, right? You can help us at the Shiro Coffee Club give back to the community. Now, if you rock with Shiro Coffee Club, then you know we're more than just about delicious coffee, right? We have, of course, the Shiro Coffee Chat right here. We have the Ambassadors Program. We facilitate a number of veteran coffee chats in the Chicagoland area. We host in person and online events. I mean, the Shiro Coffee Club is really about community connection and impact. And right now, we're in full swing of our Shiro Ambassador Coffee campaign. Yes. Now, this coffee campaign is part of our four pillars, and this coffee campaign satisfies our goal achievement pillar. Now, the other three pillars of the Shiro Coffee Club are self expression, and you see that on the blog, self care, where we meet and congregate together, and of course, what we're doing right now, connecting. I'm connecting with you, yes, but we all connect with each other. So, this campaign runs through July 31st. Again, the campaign runs through July 31st, and every bag sold is going to help fuel something bigger, right? And what will we be doing? We will be donating to the Benjamin O. Davis VFW Post 311 Commander Scholarship Fund. That VFW Post 311 is located in Richton Park, Illinois, and this scholarship supports the college dreams of children of veterans. Yes, that's good because the mission doesn't end when the service does, right? We have to keep pouring into the next generation, just like we poured into the last. So we have to keep going on. So we want to talk about our first milestone. So, our first milestone, each ambassador is asked to sell just 4 bags of our 12-ounce medium or dark roast coffee. That's it. 4 bags to make a difference and to make that difference. And right now, we're going to take a look at our leaderboard. So, yeah, Andre, can you pull up our leaderboard? Let's take a look at it. All right. So can we get a hand clap for Cynthia Miraz? Can I hear a hand clap, Andre? Thank you. This chart is really big. I think I made it too large, but what I want to say, Cynthia has definitely exceeded her goal. She is number one on the leaderboard, selling 24 bags. And don't forget, this campaign doesn't end until July 31st. We've got Camille Thomas, Cynthia, Marine Corps veteran, Camille Thomas coming in at number two with 7 bags. Air Force Air Force veteran, and then Jasmine Rush, Navy veteran, coming in with 7 bags. Also, so Andre asked me. He said, "Well, how do you distinguish if Camille and Jasmine has the same bags?" It's all a matter of timing. They both have 7 bags, but which bag order came in first? It was Camille's. That gives her second place. All right, let's show that next slide, Andre. Now we have 8 ambassadors, and this coffee campaign is still going on. And I'm going to continue every week to just give you small updates. All right, we've got Amanda Mae McCullough, Air Force veteran, with 4 bags. So let's give her a hand because she has reached her goal of 4 bags. She's reached that first milestone. Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate you. All right, we have Nicole Johnson with 2 bags. So, what can you do to support Nicole and support us in our efforts for the Commanders Scholarship Campaign? What you can do is go to SheroCoffee.com, find Nicole's picture. It looks just like that. Click on it and order yourself a bag of dark or medium roast, and that will increase her bag. It will increase her bag sold. So let's give support to Nicole. Also, Shalay Morgan. She is currently serving. And she's in the United States Army. Yes, she has 2 bags sold. You can do the same for her. Find her picture, click on it, and support her bags. Or Carmen Gamble. Carmen Gamble is also at 1 bag, so she needs 3 bags. Find her picture, go ahead and click, and then you can support her bags. And then last we have Rebecca Fleming. Rebecca Fleming, if I didn't say so, Nicole, Shalay, and Carmen, all United States Army. And you know, as a U.S. Army vet, I have to give a shout out. We love all of our sister services, but you know, after spending 20 years on active duty, there is just a special place in my heart for the United States Army. All right, Rebecca Fleming from the mighty U.S. Marine Corps. Yes, find her picture and click on her bag. Yes, we hope that you will continue to support us. This is how we do it: 1 bag, one goal, and one scholarship at a time. So, let's reach this goal together. Let's get to that first milestone. And you know what? I have to take a sip and take a pause because normally the first thing we do is the Shero resource table, but that wasn't the resource table. But I want to show you what's on the resource table for today. We make mistakes. We all do. All right, Andre, go ahead and give me that beyond the call slide, please. Yes. You know, you guys, I really have to get better at these slides. You know, next week it'll be better, I promise. All right. So if you want to join the Shero Coffee Club this Wednesday, we will be at the second annual Beyond the Call Veteran Business Support Symposium. They're going to have guest speakers. They're going to be talking about veterans in business. They're going to be talking about the entrepreneurship journey. They're going to be talking about getting certified. And this is in the Richton Park area. So this is pertaining to Illinois. And the reason why I'm starting to say where these locations are is because I got a really nasty comment. I didn't respond back, but they were like, this blankety blank is in a whole different state. But we don't just report things that happen in Illinois, but I am born and raised Chicago, so you are going to get a lot of information, and currently living in the state of Illinois, so you are going to get a lot of information that comes from Illinois. But we have guests who are not from Illinois. But yes, if you are in the Chicagoland area, I want you to be here for this symposium. If you ever thought about becoming an entrepreneur, or had the desire to become an entrepreneur, or want to know more about how you can get certified as a veteran entrepreneur, they're going to have all of this information, lots of resources. And not just that, I think when I was on the call, they're going to have a veteran service officer there. Don't quote me, this is just what I heard. So if you want to talk benefits and things like that, this is the time to come. But yes, join us at the second annual Beyond the Call Veteran Business Support Symposium at the Richton Park Community Center at 4445 Sauk Trail in Richton Park, Illinois. I think this is going to be something that's absolutely great. Andre, do I have another slide, or is that it? All right. I guess that's it. All right. Now we're going to go right into our tip of the week. So this week's tip focuses in on fitness. And we're talking about stretching your body even if you don't exercise. See, a lot of people think that stretching is just only for athletes or people who hit the gym. But if you don't know, let me be the first to tell you. If you are a human being, then stretching is definitely for you, especially as we age. None of us are, not just me, none of us are as young as we used to be. So our muscles naturally kind of lose its flexibility, and that stiffness definitely can lead to all those aches and pains and poor posture and slower movement. But actually, regular stretching can help. So that's what I invite you to do, and that's your tip of the week. And just remember that you don't have to exercise regularly, although you should, and just to do stretching. You can do a few morning stretches. You can wake up and just remind your body that it still matters. Just take 5 minutes. Shoot, if you haven't done anything, take 5 minutes today and roll your shoulders and reach for the ceiling and stretch those legs. Do a little something. It's all about being flexible and staying mobile. And for those of us in the military, we already know, if you joined when you were 18 and then you got out when you were 38 or 40, then guess what? Your body is not the same, right? So let's stay strong as the years go by. And that is your tip of the week. All right. So now we're going to go into our guest of the week, and I'm excited to welcome him. I'm going to take a sip. Pause for the cause. Jake Droge is a nationally recognized expert in reverse mortgages and financial strategies for retirees who want to stay in their homes. Since entering in the field in 2007, yeah, that makes you an expert, especially if you've been in the field, working in the career field since then. Jake has helped a countless number of seniors navigate cash flow challenges, avoid foreclosures, and preserve their financial independence through thoughtful mortgage solutions. As South Dakota's first certified reverse mortgage professional, CRMP, he partners with financial advisors, loan officers, attorneys, and realtors nationwide to educate and serve clients with integrity and care. He is a proud Army. Huh! That was my Oprah thing when I said Army. He is a proud Army veteran, huh, and a longtime member of the American Legion. Oh, I love it when our veterans are part of veteran organizations. Jake is deeply committed to supporting fellow veterans and their families. He's also known as the Flagman. Yes, he's on a mission to run a half marathon in all 50 states while carrying the American flag. How patriotic is that? Jake currently serves clients across US and through University Bank and is always ready to offer guidance. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Jake Flagman Droge. Jake, welcome.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's a beautiful day here in South Dakota today, so I take every day as a blessing.
Every day, and I have to stand in agreement with you there. Every day is truly a blessing. I always say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's be grateful in it. And I am very grateful to have this day, to have this time, to share with you and to pass information along. So we're gonna talk a little bit about, I want to talk about a couple of things. So let's start with the first question, because I can get off the trail and then we'll be talking about something else. But what inspired you to get into reverse mortgage, the reverse mortgage field? I mean, not only that, you've been in it for quite some time. And how has the industry changed since you joined?
Great questions right there. So I got into it back in 2007. I was at a large national bank, as well as Fargo at the time. My position, I was in compliance, was being eliminated, and previously to that I worked in the compliance area for the foreclosure area, and I worked in the foreclosure department before that. So I worked with a lot of people who were at difficult times in their life. And this position was out there, and a previous manager knew my position was being eliminated, so said, Jake, you should check this out. What did I do? The first thing I did is Google it, because I didn't know what a reverse mortgage was. So I went and visited with the managers on a Friday, and about 2 hours later, he said, if you're interested, this job's yours. I knew it was going to be a challenge. It was straight commission. So over the weekend, I called my dad. And the first thing my dad said, you're going to take people's homes, because he remembered what the reverse mortgages were before it was an FHA program back in the 70s and 80s. I knew at that point that if I went into this field, I was going to be educating. And to this day, 18 years later, I'm still educating, overcoming the myths and the misunderstandings on it. But why am I so passionate about it? Because my grandfather, who is also named Jake, a World War II veteran with multiple Purple Hearts, when he had to leave his home and went to the next level of care because of his Alzheimer's and dementia, the next time I saw him, it had accelerated. And I think the big change of having to leave his home was a big part of that. So to me, if people want to be in their home and it's a safe place for them to be, I'm going to do everything I can to keep them in their home.
Oh, wow. Salute to you. Was that your great grandfather?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather. A
Yep.
salute to your grandfather and his action in combat and receiving the Purple Heart. That's a good thing that he was acknowledged for
Yes.
what what he was involved in. And so that leads me to that's a beautiful story, and now we definitely have an understanding of why you're in this. But the second question is kind of like you touched on it, but you didn't finish it. Folks are out here, they're skeptical. They're skeptical. They really are, Jake. They say that reverse mortgages are taking old folks' money, as they say. And what I want to know is, how do you explain what a reverse mortgage is and how does it truly help people?
Yeah, so the program I'm going to talk about today is going to be the FHA reverse mortgage, also known as the home equity conversion mortgage. It's designed for seniors 62 and over who want to stay in their homes. And where the reverse comes in, on a regular 30-year mortgage or 15-year mortgage, you make a payment every month. The opposite in the reverse, you're going to pay back that loan with interest when you sell the home. So it could be when you decide to sell it on your own terms, or you go to the next level of care and it's no longer your primary residence, or you pass away and the estate is being settled. What I see generally is a lot of time there's a lot of equity left in the home, like when that time comes when the person decides to sell or the estate's being settled, but the family or the individuals just aren't aware of that. So the biggest thing I tell people is when the loan becomes due and payable, reach out to your loan officer like myself or the servicer, and we'll say, okay, if you're going to sell the home, get your favorite realtor is what I tell them, and get that home listed, because the longer you sit on that home and you're not there, more interest is accruing. So why not just get it sold? But it's designed, the reverse in the essence of it is designed for people who want to stay in their homes. And half the time I'm still paying off an existing 30-year mortgage, for example. So since this is more, this isn't just for veterans, but about half my loans are for veterans or the surviving spouse. So let's say we're a veteran and
Your sound, I just want to make sure everyone can hear you. Can you adjust your sound, because you're giving out some vital information. I want to make sure everyone can hear you.
okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's designed for people who want to stay in their homes. And one year I did a poll of all my past clients, and over half of them were veterans and or the surviving spouse. And I started going through my numbers, and most of them had done their last mortgage in their late 40s, early 50s. And it was a 30-year mortgage. Well, now they're roughly 70 years of age, 65 to 70, and they had 10 years or less on their mortgage balance. Well, if you're 70 years of age and you're paying out $1,000 principal and interest every month, that's a big part of your cash flow if you're on a fixed income, if you've stopped working. So what I realized is if I can pay off that existing mortgage balance and we free up that principal and interest payment, because you don't have that in the reverse, you're not required to make that payment anymore. It's like getting $1,000 increase in your pension or in your Social
Yeah.
Security check. So that's when I realized that's where I can really help people get rid of that existing mortgage. And to this day, it's not uncommon. So I'm like working with one right now. The home's valued about 670,000. Their their balance is about $160,000 yet, and they're in their
Hmm.
70s. They're never going to pay that off in their lifetime.
Right. Right.
So I can come in and pay that mortgage balance off, and then that 168,000 is going to be accruing interest as long as they live in that home.
Hmm.
But even when you look out like 10 years, they're still going to have like 300 and some thousand of equity, but they made no payments even if they live there for another 10 years. For this
Hmm.
case, it would put these people at 85 years of age roughly. And like they said, they don't see themselves living in that home past 85. So they would sell the home based on what the um, appreciation levels of the home end up being. They're probably looking at greater than $350,000 worth of equity, and they didn't make a payment for 10 years. So it's cash flow first and foremost, is why I see people that can make the biggest difference. But
Hmm.
other people want to do some things in retirement that they couldn't before. They might even have their home free and clear, but they have a positive cash flow, but it's pretty tight. So, like you're in the Chicago area, similar to winters here in South Dakota, some of these people want to get out and go down south for 1 or 2 months of the winter, but they can't afford it. They feel they can't. Um, I'll have them where they use their reverse mortgage to fund that for those 2 months versus taking it out of their portfolios, getting taxed on it, or whatever the case may be. So, but by far and away, when I grew up, I was always told cash is king, cash is king.
Hmm.
I still believe that, but to seniors, I feel positive cash flow is king, because
Hmm.
if you have a positive cash flow in retirement for seniors, they don't stress near as much about running out of money, which is a major fear for a lot of seniors.
Oh wow. Now tell me this. That was excellent. Thank you so much for that. Tell me this. Do you have to have equity in the home in order to qualify for a reverse mortgage? And what if you're upside down, if that makes sense, in your home? What, like, so I guess I'm looking for the qualifications.
Yeah, so first and foremost, you have to be 62 or over. It has to be your primary residence.
Mhm.
Um, the percentage that you get is less than like a on a conventional loan, you can get 80% loan to value, for example,
Yeah.
without PMI or whatever the case may be. The percentages are much lower in the reverse because you don't have a payment on as long as you live there. So typically what I see is right around 50% or less on a average situation. Now, if you get somebody in their 90s, you might get over the 50% threshold, but
Mm-hmm.
generally it's anywhere as that 40 to 50%, depending on
Okay.
the age, because it's based on life expectancy.
Gotcha.
So, yep, great question.
And I found that this is interesting. The last thing you said, the life expectancy thing. How is that determined? Is it just on average? And what happens if I keep living past what the reverse mortgage, what the life expectancy of what they thought?
I love that you bring that up because that's where the loan can potentially get upside down. So
Mm,
so if interest is accruing on that balance, and let's say they say, okay, 82 is the life expectancy of this individual at this age, for example, and now you're 102, so you've lived in this home that's your primary residence for like 30 years. That loan balance has been growing for 30 years, and if the home appreciation hasn't kept up, you're going to get upside down. So, oh, we're going to be upside down, and now our family, everybody thinks them or their kids are going to owe a whole lot of money on this house. That's false because there's insurance that's built into the program. It's an FHA mortgage insurance premium that's built in. It
okay.
goes on the loan balance just like the interest does. But if you're upside down at that point, you don't owe that shortfall. So let's say the
Oh,
loan balance is 500,000 and the home's only worth 400,000. They don't have to pay that 100,000. That insurance will come in and cover it. So now let's say it was the the family homestead, and a child wants to keep that home, and the loan balance is 500, it's only worth 400. Everybody thinks the child's going to have to pay the 500. FHA makes it available at 95% of the fair market value. So the FHA appraiser comes in and says, yeah, it's only worth 400. A child or somebody can buy that for 95% of that fair market value.
oh, that is
Yeah,
that is good to know.
it's
That
really good to know.
that's a relief. I can't believe the time is going so fast. But I wanna switch gears because I want to talk about you as the flag man and what sparked your mission to run half marathons in all 50 states.
Thank you. So way back when I was younger, I just hit that big 5-0 this past year. I ran
Woo!
exactly. I ran half marathons without carrying the flag. I just would just go do them once in a while, and it was something. It was a challenge at that point. Then COVID hit. Our kids were not active in their travel basketballs and triathlons because all those things were canceled. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some me time. I'm going to get back in shape. The first night I was going to go out, being past Army, I was going to go out, run 2 miles. I had the walk of shame. I started out too fast. About a quarter mile in, I literally thought I was having a heart attack. I was just that out of
Wow.
shape. And I was like, once I get back in shape, I'm never going back to where I am today.
Mm.
And the freedom of mobility, I see it in my clients, the freedom for me to go out and run 2, 3 miles and not be exhausted. It gives me a sense of freedom. And my very first race was in Crofton, Nebraska, which was right across the state border, about a 90-mile drive from me. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to carry a flag because a flag represents freedom to me. It meant so much to my grandfather and my dad, who also served, and they both passed. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to carry the flag. I was coming in on the last quarter mile at the Crofton Dam race, they call it, and I come around this curve and I see this gentleman with a walker, and he was sitting in his walker, in the seat, and I come by and he stands up, and you could see he was a proud, proud, proud veteran, and he must have been
Wow.
there watching some family member. I'm like, you know what? Me carrying that flag just made his day. I was like, yep, I'm going to
Wow.
do this. My goal, I want to visit all 50 states. So this is my motivation to go see every state. And I'm going to be running Fargo here on May 31st. It'll be my
Oh,
11th state. And my goal is try to get to 4 or 5 a year. So at this rate, I'm going to have to keep running, probably a long time, which is good because it helps keep me healthy is my thought process. But
yeah.
I'm really I really look forward to every race I go to. And I'll have flags along. So if somebody wants to carry a flag too, then I have a
Yeah.
little flag for them too. So
Okay. We've got 5 seconds left. Jake can be reached on LinkedIn. He can be reached on Instagram. He can be reached on Facebook. We'll leave the information in. You've got your coffee mug, Jake. Come on. Let's cheer. All right. Keep your head strong, your heart strong, and your coffee, Shero. We will see you next week.
Thank you.